Friends, today we are honored to have a distinguished guest speaker among us. And it is my pleasure to welcome Professor Omkumar Krishnan, an faculty of marketing management at IIM Kozhikode, renowned for his vast experience and achievements in this area of specialization. Sir, now I will turn it over to you. The floor is yours.
Okay. So as far as this, good evening, everybody. I'm happy to always interact with, and correct me if I'm wrong in terms of this is mostly the startup group. That is what was briefed to me, and more or less, I'm not doing any specializations. I'm looking at from an introduction and looking at some of the contemporary developments in marketing. And please stop me, or if you have clarifications, please engage and ask this, because I was briefed that it is a very heterogeneous group also. Okay, so please, I'm audible, right?
Yeah, very well, sir. Excellent.
Okay, fine. Yes. So before, so usually when we look at from one of the comments which I always say is that marketing is seen as an expense, especially particularly when we look at startups and when company levels are at small or medium enterprises. Most of the time, to invest in marketing is seen as cost. Okay, so it is this. Another viewpoint is that with this modern contemporary, with all this social media and reach of the internet and computer resources, people talk about marketing is very easy. You don't have to spend on marketing. And without even a 0 penny, I will reach to the customer. Okay, so this kind of a dualism is existing in the marketing space. But I always, when I interact with the startups, awareness regarding marketing itself is very less, or people do not want to know more about the importance of marketing. Okay. So it is seen as, many times marketing even is seen as something negative. That's it. You have an excellent product, so you don't have to do that marketing. So that's why I try to make it at that, the relevance of the marketing, and we'll see some aspects where the rigor of marketing can be pressed. Okay, that I will definitely take up in the discussion. Okay, so this is a premise on which so we need to know the philosophy of this evolution of marketing and the type of marketing which is relevant from a basic level. That helps us in assessing, right? Where are you standing in terms of the marketing, your marketing plan, or what are the objectives which you are trying to frame, or how is it being addressed? Okay, so some things are on this slide, some things extempo I will try and connect with you. Okay, because I don't want to make it a completely theoretical aspect also. Okay. So I usually start in terms of the, this idea of, how do you imagine this one? That means that you need to have the marketing mind itself, right? So most of the time, our understanding of most of the things are very commonsensical. So we try to relate very commonsensically, or the basic management. Okay, so here, so we most of the time we know that there are a lot of technical aspects in marketing, and there is a lot of creative aspects in marketing. For example, in terms of the promotions or the advertisements, people will. Yeah, I think the host can mute everybody so that. Okay. So there, in terms of the marketing mind, so how do you think in terms of the marketing? How do you understand the consumer's point of view? Okay, so where do we relate all those things? So that is where our own experiences, right? And now most of our experiences has been from the advertisements which we try and see, okay, or advertisements which we don't want to see. Okay, most of the time people do not want to this one because they are trying to market to us. So people have this avoidance. And of course, we look at from our own buying of the product and the way in which we search the product or some of the services which we have seen, what we like or not. Okay. And of course, usage of the product also belongs to the experience. So today, people talk a lot about user experience, especially with the OTT, right? So what are the ways in which when I am watching the movie, okay, how are the ways in which I can quickly surf and reach to that thing? What are the algorithms? This thing. So there is a role of the company also in terms of understanding the consumer and making people experience the best in that limited time point. Okay, we will again reinforce in what I'm trying to say, right? So where the startups also has less resources, but they also try to project. Okay. Now, then of course, understanding of who is your basic consumers and your classification of the consumers. So in my own consulting and all, many times I find a lot of confusion, right? Whether, who is your consumer. So most of the time, are we focusing on the B2B or are we focusing on the B2C? And is our strategy same, right? Many times when we discuss only, people start realizing. The second thing is that who is the end consumer? So many times it may not be what the person who is purchasing may not be the person who would be consuming the product. Okay, so the usage of the user experience is for the end user. Okay, so classically it's our Byju's and other education. And most of the purchases are made by the parents for making their successful mobility of their kids or this one. But the usage is for the kid. So how far he or she is able to use that, right? Then we have obviously in the this 3 C's, like the company, the consumer, and the competition. And we can imagine the overlap. Like it is not only you who are doing the marketing of a particular product, but you have the competitor and how far. So from a startup ecosystem, we with all the big players and all the strategies of takeovers and addressing the current needs, then also it becomes very important in terms of, so if you draw the three C's, the consumers, company, and the competition, okay, then you will definitely see the interrelations between where the consumer and competition is linked upon, where the company and consumer is linked upon. Okay, so that why we do that is that we would like to know that are we making the same kind of products or what is the differentiation. Now, differentiation is an important element, and especially as a product differentiation and as a brand differentiation. For the startups, more is from the product differentiation because you're always in the nascent stage of starting as a brand outlook. Okay, branding of course is also important, but we will now limit to within the marketing framework. Now, so when we look at this holistic marketing, right? What are the elements of the marketing? So that is where I will touch upon the headings whenever the ideas of the holistic marketing, right? So I will touch upon each of those headings and see that what is the relevance. So for example, in holistic marketing, we say that in a company, all the employees are or everybody should be believing in that particular product. Okay, then only that product is accepted in the market. Like if your own employees do not know or others one, so that's what we call as the internal marketing aspect, right? So if you are in a service business and if you yourself do not believe in that product or one of your employees do not believe the end person, then it becomes the same. So constantly there is need of internal marketing. Or if we talk in holistic marketing, another aspect is that the concept of integrated marketing, right? So the pricing, say, if I look at marketing, the pricing of marketing cannot be done alone by the marketing department, or what we call as the silo, right? So there, the finance department is also involved in terms of this one. Same way, when I'm making a promise that I will deliver the product on a particular time, that means that the operations team also has to be on the same page like this. And without that, when we are making a promise. So there are some 4 elements of holistic marketing, which the 2 things which I already said, that is this internal marketing, and the other one is the integrated marketing, that where this but always one caution is that everybody in an organization, when it becomes internal marketing, is a partial marketer. Say, for example, when you might be working in the accounts department, okay, or you might be an accountant in a startup, but outside, you and your card, when I say card, your visiting card is again seen as a marketing element only. So everybody is a marketing. Whatever you do and all reflects on the final aspect in terms of marketing. Okay. Now, there can be an organization perspective, the market perspective, and customer perspective. Why is it important? Okay, because when we look at from the newer startups and all, initially I said that from an organization perspective, you try to make it as minimum as possible, right? And you are ready to sacrifice the reach or the resources has to be used in the minimum way, right? But the market perspective might be completely different, right? The thing, what is that? If the purchasing power is very high, if the industry is doing really, the environment is doing really well, right? It is conducive, this one, then you need to act fast and do that. So the marketing environment becomes important. And finally, obviously, the customer perspective. So I'll reinforce this customer perspective again, that why we talk about always what we call as the customer-centric marketing, right? Because we should never lose the focus of the customer in all elements. Most of the time, in a bigger organization, when you grow, okay, and at a fast pace, when you grow, you many times miss out on the customer perspective. Okay, that's why that reinforcement comes. And of course, it is an interface between the internal systems and its customers. And today, say when if I say about an organization or a startup, okay, most of the time people ask one question: do you have? What would be the thing when I talk about an organization or a startup? Do you have a? Earlier they used to ask, do you have a website? Am I right? Simi, am I right? So you can put your questions on chat also. I'm happy to put that also. So most of the time, today they don't ask about the website. They ask about, what do you have an app? Right. So most of the time, in the context of this one, that is where the interface is there, right? So what is it we are trying to see in this, right? So in the marketing management, this evolution of the marketing concept is very important. Okay, so to understand that, how has marketing evolved, then you get to know that where you are standing in terms of the real marketing. Okay, so initially it was only the focus was most of the time production, that I produce a lot of products. Okay, I was focusing on the thing, and most of the time when I have carved out an idea and I try to make it into a physical product or into a service, okay, I will go on the thing. So my idea will be, how do I scale up? How do I produce that many products? And obviously more products and the economy of scale is what, and with a standard price, I will be the same. But that orientation is mostly in terms of the production element. Okay, so people looking at production, right? Then we moved on to the product. Okay, so when we moved on to the product, more than this one, what is the offer? What is we trying to give? Right? So we focus on, say, if you are offering a service, we try to fine tune that particular product or this one rather than focusing on this one, and we try to evolve the product into different versions. You will not be selling the same kind of product. You will add other value-added services, or the goods also undergoes a transformation, right? And then so you are looking as product as a package. Okay. From that, the sales part came. Why? Because the competition became important. It's not that you make the best product and people will come and buy it. Nobody comes and buys a product, even if it is the best product in the market, right? So you need to push that sales part so that people will come and buy that product, right? In this context, many times marketing is seen as some dirty business. Many times people try to degrade marketing by saying that, there is, marketing is just pushing things which you don't need to this thing. But if you don't push, nobody is going to respond. So the orientation of the sales is that the finished product is given, right? Now, what happens if my product is sold very well? Okay, I get obsessed with that particular product. I think that I have made the best product. So if you remember, we already saw that there is a customer perspective and there is a market perspective, right? The changes in the marketing perspective and in the market perspective and in the customer perspective, if you are not able to understand, we will be going on selling things which are not necessary in the market, or the customers would have moved to a different stage. Okay, a classical example, this one is the market. So this concept is called marketing myopia, which all of us go through. Like whatever we have produced is the best. We never look at other things, and we move on with that, right? Now, from market, so what is the difference between the sales and marketing? I will take in the next this one, that where does it start, right? So a simple definition. Let us look at the marketing this thing, and all of you are familiar with this thing that any textbook in marketing will talk about the 4 P's. Okay, so the product, the price, the promotion, and place. So you open up any YouTube video, you will start seeing that, right? So it is a planning and execution of this all the 4 P's. It can be goods, service, or ideas. It is an exchange. What is the exchange? Somebody is ready to pay money for the value which you are offering, and obviously it should satisfy the individual and the organization's objective. Okay, so very simple this one. There is a planning and execution, there is a consumption of all these 4 things, right? And this. So what is the price? What is the offer as a product? And this one, right? So let us look at what is the how does a product come in, right? So here we usually use the process of from the consumer side. That is where marketing differs from sales. Most of the things we said that it is from the organization, and things are produced at the organization and then given to the consumer, right? The moment when we moved on to the philosophy of marketing, we have looked at from the consumer side point. Consumer's view is taken first, right? Does the consumer need this product? So the fundamental thing, that is why always the needs becomes very important. Okay, so anything which is creating a dissatisfaction. Okay, that means that is where the need comes. Okay, so I want to transport myself, I want to eat, okay, because I'm hungry. Okay, this is where the need comes from, and it becomes very important for the marketer to understand that it is starting from the consumer side, it is not from the this is, although there is a lot of criticism that we create needs, and all the main purpose of the marketer is to deduce or understand that need, what exactly. That's why we do market research, we talk to customers. Even if we are selling a good product, we go back and speak to them and understand that, what else do they need, or what are the problems with the current products. Now, from need, we try to take the want. Now, if, for example, the difference between need and want, what is a consumer want? Consumer want is a specific need. What is a specific need? I want to be transported, but there are different ways in which I can go for the transportation. I can use a cycle, I can use a car, I can use a bike, okay, I can walk. So, or I want multiple things to eat, but from that, I will choose a specific need, this one. So from need, the want comes. And when from the point of view of the service provider or the marketer, when we look at the demand, that is from the need, the want, and finally the demand, means that any want supported by money, purchasing power. The consumer also needs to have money to buy and fulfill that particular want. If that is not there, then he or she is not a prospect or a potential customer, right? So that is where it becomes important to throw this net and arrive at the leads and convert the leads into prospects and then into the consumer or the client. Okay, so this is a chain of thing which has to this one. So the core thing is the need to want to the demand. Promotion, obviously, it is the way in which we make the consumer aware of the things, and how do we connect with, how does the information flow happens. Place is where the availability. Now, availability is a very critical thing, is that when there is a want and a demand, then obviously where can this? And in today's world, place is becoming different. So I always say that geography is becoming history now, because places are becoming irrelevant. That's why I say that geography is a history now, because I can get my products through online, right? Deliveries, our Amazons and this one. So where the product is coming from is irrelevant for me. And I am more interested in the needs are different, right? How many days it takes? Am I able to track the package? Am I getting the same? What would happen if the product is damaged? Okay, those are the elements which are coming in. And the price, we already said that, if variance of the price or the discounts are coming, then as an integrated marketing is essential for that. So I've written this 4 P's, and then you have this additional 3 P's which I have written. So obviously, you would see that in many books there are 4 P's and some books 7 P's. Okay. So what we usually do is that the people, the process, and the physical evidence is for services. It is not for the goods. Why? So we have got, like say, in a hotel environment, in a hospitality environment, or in an airline services, okay, or even in an app services. The people, the process, and the physical evidence becomes important. Okay. Now, why people are this important? Because people might be engaged with this one. So sometimes it is a very high contact service. Sometimes it is a low contact service, right? In an airline, it is a low contact service. The air hostess only has to interact with you. In a hair salon, the person is coming and cutting your hair and is engaging in a high contact, this one. So the role of the people becomes important. Then the process. In the goods, it was easy that I just buy the product and then I go and use it. But in the services, it is the process, because it services, the characteristics is that it is intangible, it cannot be used again. So if I say that my bus service is between this time to that 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, I cannot get back that 6 to 7 again. I cannot store that. Okay. So what are the ways in which marketers do? Simple example, our multiplexes, movie theaters. How do they, this one? On Wednesdays and Thursdays, low number of people are coming. And Saturdays and Sundays, larger number of people are coming to a movie theater. How do they adjust the services? This is very important in terms of, capacity management. Okay. In the goods, we don't have to worry because I can store it. Service, I cannot bring back that Wednesday or Thursday later. So in these aspects, what I do is that I will be charging differently. I will charge less during the Wednesday and Thursday, so that more people are coming and my seats are filled, does not go vacant. And Saturday and Sunday, I have more people. So anyway, I can charge high and get this one. And I do the balancing. I allow booking in advance, saying that, it will be a rush. Right. So the processes and the event management becomes very important. The things, how to use the service and all, that is where the process becomes important. And lastly, the physical evidence, because services credibility is very less. Like when I go to a hospital and get myself, and those who are working on the pharmaceutical or the health services, you might be doing the best product, right? But people do not believe that, because you don't have anything to show. In the goods, I could show the goods, the features, and then show the demonstration. In an operation, I cannot show a minor operation and show that my better operation in this. So how are the ways in which I mitigate that, right? So how do I show off my equipments, right? How do I create awareness about a place? Simple thing, tourism. People come and say that all places are same. But when somebody brings in a souvenir and keeps it on the showcase, then it becomes an evidence, a physical evidence that this person has traveled, and people also get motivated. Oh, this is an interesting place to go, right? So you can look at different ways in which creating physical evidence. The product, the way you have packaged that product, in which you are putting the name, right? So every time the thing, it is giving an evidence about something which is happening, right? So that in services, it becomes important in comparison to the goods. Okay. So we already saw that the philosophical way in which I started with production, moved on to product, then we moved on to sales, we moved on to marketing, and then in marketing, we saw needs, wants, and demands. And today we talk about societal marketing also. In the name of marketing, we should not be exploiting all this thing. And we talk about what is that economic, the social, right, and the governance. Okay. So am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So the marketing also has an element of, environment friendliness. Okay. We try to project that. So the societal marketing aspect also becomes important. Remember, I said in holistic marketing, internal marketing, where all of the people have to have a coherent knowledge. Second, in terms of the integrated marketing, cannot work indifferently. And now third thing is the societal marketing, whereby we try to project the social aspects, and by doing marketing, because marketing, remember I said that it's seen as a very dirty thing, that you're pushing the products. Okay. And we need to show that by that. That's why your advertisements, all those things talk about, touching a benefit or a well-being aspect of this. They don't say that you're using the product for this one. We talk about in terms of the benefits and the well-being and not harming the environment. And buying this consumption, I'm also contributing to the environment. Okay, that's why when you open up a Canon, what is that camera? This one, it is written. This is all reused paper. The moment this reused paper, when I remove it and take it, I read about that the package has been molded using reused paper. The reused paper is not going to improve the performance of my camera, but I relate with the brand that is looking at society at a much larger lens. They connect with the brand happens very much important and significant, right? And we are all familiar with this term, this consumer is king. That's where the shift from the sales and marketing happens. Okay. Now, most of the time people are saying, because when you go to companies and all, it is all the sales and marketing as a single department, right? So here we are looking at the orientation, right? So most of the time we when we look at the production orientation, you see my focus will be most of the time will be in terms of producing the best in the minimum level at a minimum. This one, how can you produce in large scale? And there I am not bothered about competition or this one. But when I move into the sales orientation, I am looking at aggressive this one, right? Here I am this one because I'm looking at from the profits, and I don't want to produce this. Today, the publishing industry, when we are ordering only, they're producing certain products. Even in the B2B, when you are going for large orders, after your order is placed, then only the production starts. It is linked back. The sales is linked back to the production, right? But today we have sales for a lot of technology. Enabled things to identify beautiful packages are there to convert your leads. You can reach out and then continuously you can monitor and do the sales. Okay, so when we move on from sales to the marketing, right, here remember we already discussed this, the customer wants and needs become important. Okay, so let me move on to this one, and I'm sure that you are all at an organization level only, this thing, or at a smaller organization or setting up an organization, right? So there, then obviously the top management leadership, this thing, who is the brand custodian or who is responsible for continuously looking at the customer focus. Obviously, it is the top, and it is the founder who cannot lose focus on the consumer. Competitor intelligence, because in today's world things are moving at a very fast rate. So obviously what is happening, otherwise you get into the trap of that marketing myopia, where we think that our product is the best, but the outside environment would have changed. Okay, the good example for marketing myopia is the Nokia. Okay, they thought that the feature phones which they were making was the best, and India was a huge market, right? They didn't see that the environment has changed and people moved into the other smartphones and the features, right? So how do you coordinate? Why as this one, in terms of delivering, an integrated approach can come from only the founder or the top management, whomever you are, this one. Then only you can deliver this one. Societal marketing, I already said that, rather than looking at as a single customer, we look at society as a important this one, right? It is an entity. Okay. Now, to differentiate the sales and marketing, the sales is mostly looking at from the organization. I want to achieve, today always people, there are a lot of jokes in WhatsApp, all those things. You are given some targets, and when you achieve that, next year your target is increased. Okay, it is all based on the organization's thing. Selling to everybody, okay, and the profit is through maximum sales, right? I don't care who is buying my product. Okay, a guy who is making a new, say, a smart dictionary. Let us say there is some kind of a dictionary with AI facility. Okay, now I don't care. A sales guy will not be worried in terms of selling that. Okay, so this is a new dictionary, but it is AI enabled, so you can plug in also to this to the network, or it has a Wi-Fi ability, and it is giving you a lot of information. But I will sell it to anybody. Even if a homeless person or a beggar is there, if he has money, say if I'm charging it 5,000 rupees, if he gives me 5,000 rupees, I give that. Okay, but when I look, because I look at only the organization's objective, end of the day, in the Excel file, it should be ticked. But when you are looking at the marketing focus, I am looking that whether, so then I will not even call that as a dictionary domain. I will say that AI based knowledge instrument, so that I try to this, and this is a need which is very much the thing. Can AI be used in terms of at a time when I am using a particular service? Can it give me suggestions this one? And already there are a lot of packages which are embedded into your software where this kind of services are available. And I also know that I'm giving it to what kind of segment, marketing segment. So there is a high-end segment, there can be a low-end segment. So the products which I the value which I give at a high segment and versus this one also. In the sales focus, I'm least bothered. I want to convert that. If that people are there within that range and they have the money, I give that, right? And the orientation of this one is not the Excel file. The profit is from more people are satisfied. I also do market research surveys and try to do that. And remember the integrated marketing, all the 4 P's are integrated into this one. This we had already seen that the needs, wants, and the demands initially itself I have discussed, right? So that's one. So one important thing in terms of the wants is that, like say, those who are in the food industry and all, the wants, some people want chapati, some people want burger. Now you see that the kind of new cloud kitchens and the food, the apps which are coming inside, it is culture bound things, right? Indian Chinese, right? And newer ways of this one, the ones are changing. Need was only food, but the different kind of this one. Then if you are able to tap into that buying power, then you can say that there is the element of demand also. And this is a classical thing, so I'm not going to go more into this value and this thing. If my expectation, right? People always go with an expectation. And if I am satisfying that expectation, then there is it is okay. The higher this one will be. If I'm not giving that, then I will be low in terms of the satisfaction. In the services, it becomes difficult because of the intangibility of the services. People are not able to measure it. So constantly you need to, and those startups who are looking at providing services, right? Please be very the thing, because it has to be constantly, because you cannot always talk about the features or this. You will only be offering another microservice or additional value-added services. And then beyond this one, if you are able to give, then it is a consumer delight. So that will be, people will resonate with the brand much, much higher way, right? So you did not expect this thing, but an additional product was given as a bonus, or this one for the first purchase, or at that day there was a gift also when you're buying a product. Okay, so once in a while companies, because these are things which will increase the word of mouth. Remember, in marketing, the promotion has to be internal marketing and the external marketing. So in terms of that's one, we need to look at the consumer delight also. This is the concept which we had discussed, right? When it is purely selling, most of the time people get what we call as the yellow eye. Like you only see all the good things in your product. Okay. But the environment, as remember I said about the Nokia experience, they brought the best feature phones, right? But they didn't know that people have moved on to a different aspect, right? And they lost out very badly. They lost out, right? And many times why it happens is that we feel like there is no competitive substitutes, but always beware that many things gives you direct competition and indirect competition, right? And today with all this AI enabled tools and all, machines are going to give a lot of internal indirect competition for many of the things which are being done, right? So like already you don't need a caller or that teller machines and all, or if it is very AI enabled, then they will answer. And in fact they were making robotic things in Japan and all. The receptionist itself is replaced, right? So those are things which usually people have to be always very wary about these elements of this indirect competition. They should not be obsessed with the product. So before I talk about this whole relationship marketing, initially marketing was seen as a very transactional element, right? You give me money, I give you value. You give me higher money, more money, I give you more value. Okay, it was only transaction. There was no personal connect in terms of this. Transactional marketing was this one, right? But in the 80s, when the arrival of computers and all, people started the thing that the collection of data happened. So when collection of data happened, we know that, and then this whole theory came that if I getting a new customer is 4 times the cost of retaining one customer. Now, how do I retain? I need to build a relationship between the consumer, right? So data collection started, and people worked on this one. People started connecting the thing, cross-selling started, right? So the after-sale service, all those things, this one. That way, through relationship, what are we building? We are building loyal customers. When you have loyal customers, they'll be always coming back to you. Okay, so loyalty, this one. So from the 80s onwards, people worked on how to the same. So when I am selling itself, I make sure that the loyalty, this one. So I give discounts, I give perks. First 3 services free, right? If I am there for 1 to 2 years together with the CEO, you get something free or an additional product. Okay, you're treated into this, and you are continuously in the ring of this one, and continuously you are engaged also. Okay, so that is where the relationship marketing, which is still going on, but some elements of relationship marketing has disappeared. So 1 second. Okay, are you guys there following?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So so obviously in terms of, remember I said especially for people oriented, like when we are speaking about marketing from the loyalty side, people also sometimes for a particular service, people will come only for that particular person. Example, the haircuts, or where whenever that salesperson is there, or I want to deal only with that representative, and this companies encourage this one, and more incentives are given, right? Then obviously effective training programs. How do you utilize all these tools? So customer relationship has a lot of technology, like the way I said about sales, a lot of technological aspects and a lot of other soft skills in terms of communication, all those things. So when you're growing as an organization, you need to give training for the people also to have this built-in, this one. And all this is connected to brand building and future, prospects, making more and more prospects into this, right? And then to the employees with authority to make decisions. This is where many times, in the starting phases, it becomes very difficult. In a more structured organization, we are able to do a lot of things because there are standard operating procedures and this one. But in the starting phases for an organization, many times quick decisions have to be taken. So there you need to have the faith on the employees or the delegated versus the other. Sometimes it might be an emotional intelligence. Okay. And to work as a teamwork, right? Say somebody goes for a pitch, but then there is some kind of a problem being arise. Then the service recovery or the grievance cell should be able to act it when this one. So it should be acting like a teamwork. Do not give any kind of promise. Now, I said that relationship marketing is still a big thing, and this loyalty, and people worked on this in terms of storing data and reaching out to different customers. But loyalty cannot be taken for granted, and competition is also very high. People did not stop at loyalty. So, and people are, unfortunately, people exhibit multiple loyalty. There is no guarantee that you will be the only one from where you will, people will be buying the product. So how do you maintain that? Okay. So this becomes very much sensitive, that how do I this one, and what do people want? So for example, I will talk about the neighborhood shop guy with whom you are very loyal and you are giving him business. But a new supermarket comes or a new mall comes, and the same product you go and buy from that place. And sometimes you are ready to give more money also. Remember, demand. So you are shifting, right? So what is it? So it is not relationship. In today's world, from around 2010, I don't have a fixed time, people started talking about experience. Okay. So today, how do I make each of those touch points and engagement a good experience? People talk more about the experience than about that gift given or the loyalty and this thing. And the experience is something which earlier experience was more related with tourism and hospitality. But today, in every field, we can bring in the concept of experience, right? So it might be that somebody has come to negotiate for a deal in your office. Okay. But how your office is, how you have given that hospitality and that experience also will determine your future engagements with that particular client or the consumer, right? And you can see the convenience, right? This in the OTT platforms, the apps. Okay. Now, giving an app is one thing, but the user experience given by the app is another thing, right? So one is the user interface, and then second is the user experience, which becomes important. Okay. So people talk more from they want to enjoy every moment of their life. Okay. So it is more of, so because consumption is very much embedded, including now itself, we are consuming, right? In all our transactions, this one may not be a relationship thing, but it is an experience and this thing. And experience creates vivid memories, because people will talk about that. Otherwise, in a clutter of relationships, we'll get lost. But that particular experience is the one which should trigger people to do different aspects. So in contemporary world, we talk in terms of the experience, although data management and loyalty and relationship is there. That has become more hygienic. That has become, when I say hygienic, it becomes very basic. But how do I change the experience for the target audience becomes this. And today we can't escape the digital marketing process. We already said about the way in which we have the thing moved from the ordinary normal environment into the digital environment. One caution which I have to say is that the digital marketing has accelerated at a much faster pace due to the COVID time, right? Because this was the only channel through which people were able to connect, or the service providers were able to connect. So there, the digital marketing elements, this one. So I don't have to explain to you today, your Instagram, your social media, all those things, your presence becomes very important. Your personal branding becomes important. And the engagement is more in the digital, the things, and your Google ads and things which are chasing you, better algorithms are being developed. And now we are moving into the AI space also. So the digital marketing is in thing, and we cannot ignore this in terms of, right? So in the marketing process, we usually look at, organization situations, the classical management thing that, what are you the thing? So the strength means that you try to leverage your strength, underplay your weaknesses. Threats, we already said that, be aware of the competition and the trap of the marketing myopia, that, you brought a big product and you are obsessed. Many times startup may, this will work, and, the reality you don't want to see. And people still want the thing. And the opportunities to keep your eyes and ears open becomes important. So if you go by step, you are setting the marketing objectives. Look at this one in your organization. So look at purely from the marketing side, that, what are the things which are there in terms of the strength, weakness, opportunity, and the threat, right? And finally, in the marketing process, you are developing your marketing strategy and the marketing plan, right? Starting with the budget and this one, right? So I always advise that, at least 10% of your budget should be allocated for marketing. But most of the time, the new people are not convinced, to invest in market research, and they go into this one like it is a cost on this. It is an investment which has to be continuously made. When your revenue increases, do not cut on the marketing this one. Then you will lose out on the strategies and the thing. And today there are a lot of tools to evaluate the success. Earlier, we did not have tools to monitor that whether the marketing was working or not. Okay, so we need to look at the target market, newer target markets. Okay, how do I give it to multiple markets? And then, of course, the marketing mix. We already said about the 4 Ps and the 7 Ps, and the performance measures, right? Each time the senders, it's not only just the sales and the sales figures, the investment, the intervening marketing tools which you have used today, that helps us in knowing that, say I advertised in newspaper, I put it in social media, which was working more. What are the returns on assets more? Then you contribute according to that. Okay. And evaluating their marketing efforts and seeing that, which are the right people who are this one. Do I need to bring in more marketing people into this? What kind of profile should those marketing people have? Okay. So in short, you make a marketing plan out of each, this, and then only from a startup perspective, your own domain expertise and all, whatever domain you are working becomes important. And you need to look at each of these concepts. I can share this slide, and I am open for any kind of questions. Now, within my domain or within whatever expertise I have, I will be definitely ready to share. So with that, I conclude.